Heavy Hitters is a really damn good set. And it's been out for the last couple weeks, and I've had a chance to see all the cards, play with the cards, open the cards, sniff the cards, and I wanted to just tell you my thoughts about the product overall. I mean, high level, it's just really, really damn good. I think Legend Story Studios had a really great mindset too on the offset of just making this product. Like before making all the cards and everything, I think they went into this set thinking, hey, we don't want to take this set too seriously. We want to have fun with it. We want to implement different mechanics and whatnot to just make the most amount of fun aspect for the end user. And I think you see that in certain things like the clash type thing where both opponents both players reveal the top card of their deck, and of course it adds more variance to the type of interactions you're doing. Of course you can deck build and make it so you have the variance in your favor, but still there's a lot of more variance type mechanics that make it more interesting and just more of a fun aspect. I think variance is hard to calibrate in games. You don't want too much of it because then skill isn't going to determine the winner, but then you don't want too little of it or else the game becomes chess and it's just not fun, right? Variance creates fun, but it has to be used with a lot of responsibility. I think Legend Story Studios really, walked a line really well at that by implementing a little bit more variance, but not making it so like it makes it so that person won the game. Like it might give you a little edge or whatever, but yeah. So I think that the mechanics overall, the artwork, the card names, and everything like that, and even the heroes themselves, like KO, armed and dangerous, and he's missing an arm. Yeah, that's pretty funny. And then you have what is it? Victor Goldmane, who's just the pompous asshole. That's a little funny looking character, right? Betsy, of course. I mean, so you've got a lot of interesting cast of characters, the cards, the mechanics. Yeah, it just seemed like they really knocked it out of the park with that. Now, with like bright lights, in the past, I said that a big metric for bright lights would be new player acquisition in a 5 month period. I think with heavy hitters, it's more of is this set fun? Like, did it really implement that for the people out there community? And that's hard to measure. I don't know how you can measure fun levels versus other sets. But I think that they met their mark. And it's nice too because you had a lot of sets before, right? Where you have Dust Till Dawn, heavy hitters, outsiders, and it seemed very serious, right? The tone of the art and the themes of what's going on. There's a lot of serious things going on, right? But the heavy hitter seems more of light and just put your money where your mouth is and just a lot of interesting, just fun cards. So I won't go on about that too much. Let's talk about what's in the boxes, right? So I got a case. I opened 3 boxes. I kept one sealed. I do that in a lot of sets, like what is it, heavy hitters, the new sets that come out. I'm usually in the last couple sets. I've just ordered one case, opened 3 boxes, put one on my shelf sealed because I have a sealed collection of Flesh and Blood sets from the beginning to now. So it's cool. That's like the 12th box on my shelf. So I didn't really pull the best of cards, but hey, opening booster boxes is gambling. But when I sold cards in the first week or 2 weeks of the set release, they sold pretty well. I'm gonna give it to it. And there's a lot of really great Majestics in the set. There's a lot of ones that you could see certain decks, materialize, and then the certain Majestics may like spike depending on the meta and how things evolve. So I think that there's just a lot of spice in the whole box itself. Another thing to really have a takeaway is like the legendary equipment is very just simplistic in nature. It's really understandable of what each one does, and each one seem pretty powerful. Same with the Majestics too. I mean, I think that also the expansionary slot did really wonders there. I think that that's a master stroke to take the supplemental product and say, hey, this isn't really what we're geared towards. We're geared towards players and people who want to play Flesh and Blood. let's have all of our products be core products, and then take the supplemental product and then just divvy it out in the expansion slot. It's a chef's kiss. It makes it so the players get what they want, which is a draftable product. All the products are draftable going forward, it seems, right? That's like, seems like the goal, while also making it more just collectible, and where you have more money in certain expansionary slot cards. And when I mean collectible, I mean you have cards that aren't printed as much in the Majestic slot, in the expansion slot. We've seen a good amount of price appreciation where some of those cards can go to like, 10, 20, $30. I mean, Tome of Imperial Flame was a really big one for a while. Still need to get some copies for my Emperor deck. But you have this expansionary slot, which I think is great. It adds money to the boxes, and it makes it so you don't have to have a supplemental product. And it really helps with the certain meta of certain, heroes and everything. Like if they want to do a hot fix of a certain hero, they just put like a Majestic or two in the expansion slot to help that hero out. And I think that it's a really good way that they've implemented that. And I think we've seen it with a couple different things, right? So I was trying to see if I have it over here, but they have the tokens, right? Where it was like the dual tokens where you can split them in the middle and one card becomes two small cards. I think that was cool, and that adds to the fun aspect, right? They're just playing around doing something new. And overall, this set feels a lot like Crucible War to me. It feels like it's what Crucible War should have been, right? I really liked how we're seeing with each new set of Flesh and Blood, right? Versus any other TCG out there, right? Here's a major point, is that Legend Story Studios constantly updates their product, constantly is making changes, listening to the community, tweaking what their product is. And if you look at all the changes over time culminating into this box, it's just beautiful. Like first you had 2.0, which made it so there's no first edition unlimited, it's just one box. Then you have the expansion slot, boom. Then you have these token things, boom. Then you have, whereas Crucible War, you couldn't draft, and you had a bunch of new heroes for Blitz. You had like 6 heroes for Blitz, but there's no fucking draftable product. Now you have 6 heroes and a draftable product. You've got so many different changes that have occurred in the product over time, and it's just getting better and better, and it's great to see. I think the most notable thing for this set too is that there's just a lot of generic M's, which are really spicy in my opinion. I think that generic M's are just so great because if they're used for all the decks in the meta, everyone has to get that card, right? A great example of something like this, I think Snag from Crucible War. That card was an anti-chain card, and when chain was off the rails, 2-3 years ago, everyone ran a bunch of copies of that. That card was like $20-$30. I think that the amount of money with generic M's is really hot in this product, and I could see it, going and appreciating to $100, $110 box. I have no idea what it's doing long term. I mean, personally, for me, man, I don't like to put more money into a product when it releases it first. I know I hate saying that because I fucking love Flesh and Blood. I want you to spend money on Flesh and Blood, but look at all these other sets in the past, right? I'm ranting here closer to the end. I'm looking at Everfest. I'm looking at Toa. I'm looking at Monarch. I'm looking at all these cards in the past that I've been too much of a cheap ass to buy, and then now I realize, oh, okay, some cards have gone down in price, and I'm kind of targeting that. And I'd recommend anyone out there, not financial advice, of course. This is what I'm doing, right? It's obvious. Like when a set is super hot and people are just sweating and itching to get those cards, just hold off. Flesh and Blood is going to have a very, very long and prosperous, many, many sets into the future. And when people aren't looking at their prior sets, it's a good time to buy because usually the supply is higher because other people are trying to buy the newer stuff. So anyway, that's what I've kind of been doing. I think that the EV on heavy hitters is pretty damn good. I haven't really calculated it, but looking at the card prices overall, the landscape looks pretty nice. And moving into more of the supply out there in the current market. So I think that this is one of the biggest topics out there, and it's the biggest thing. I think that you have a lot of people just sitting and waiting and looking and thinking, okay, what's going to happen next with this product? Are we going to see more waves? So from what we've heard from different interviews out there, I think Flukenbach's had the James White interview, and that's a whole separate topic around LSS, siphoning out supply that they have and not putting it all into the market at once. I think they've done a really good job at either doing that or controlling the narrative out there and the market out there of people thinking that distro is out of boxes and they don't have any more at this current time. I've definitely heard those rumors and different whispers and what have you, and I'm sure a lot of people out there have heard that at this point in time. The narrative has been controlled very well. What will happen in the future and how much more product will be siphoned into the market, it's who knows, and that's the big question that a lot of people have, because prices out there are holding. Prices are doing really well. I think that comparative to the last maybe 2 or 3 sets, prices tended to decline pretty rapidly after the first week or the first 2 weeks. This is, I think, the third or fourth week after heavy hitters, and things are doing pretty damn good. I really like how we haven't heard of the new set yet. That is perfect, because once people hear the new set name, that usually tends to make people more, okay, gotta save up money for the new set, and I'm kind of interested. So I like how that that news has been not said like 3 weeks after the release of heavy hitters. That's another plus. So I I feel like a shill in a way with all these compliments, but what more can I do? Like it is what it is. The everything that's been out there for heavy hitters and how it was put out into the market, the supply, just everything about it seems top notch. And the one thing with the Marvel rarity, right? That was one of my biggest questions before I saw the product release and before I even sniffed any card from heavy hitters, is what is going to happen to the Marvel rarity? Are we going to see like Marvel rarity heroes below the $50 threshold point, right? And we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that yet, which is beautiful. I hope that all those Marvel heroes stay at like $100 for the young and then 200 plus for the adult hero. I would love that. I mean, the pull rate on them though does scare me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like having, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but the whispers on the ether webs is that you can pull a Marvel hero 1 out of 2 cases, and the amount of adults is like 1 adult per 2 young, I believe. If I'm saying anything incorrect, please comment down below and let me know. But that's what I've heard. And when you do have that, it does seem good, and it does seem like it's holding, but it doesn't seem like too crazy. So the whole thing that I'm going to be looking at over the next 3 months to 6 months is do those prices hold for the Marvel heroes? That's like the biggest thing that I really am hoping for this product, because like what is it, Uprising, right? The dragons were beautiful cards. I love those dragons. I have one of each. I think it's a great thing to collect like a set of them. But what sucked is when I first opened the product, I pulled a Marvel dragon, and I thought, wow, this is really damn good. This dragon is awesome. I looked on TCG Player, and it's a $15 card. And that was a gut hurt, right? When you see a Marvel dragon, or a Marvel card in general for Flesh and Blood, it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. It blew me away, and every time I've pulled one, like any type of Marvel card in Flesh and Blood, it blows you away, because you're just like going through the packs and whoa, like what the is this? And I don't think that those cards should be anywhere lower than $50. I hope that they command a good premium, like the $90 to $100 range. So that's kind of where I'm seeing it. that I would like to see it in the market. And so far, 3 weeks after Heavy Hitters has been released out into the public, it is holding. Prices are holding. I don't know what the young versions are, but nothing's like too crazy cheap, and that's not what people are talking about. So it's really damn good. I'm just golf clap here. And I don't know what more to say is. I mean, right now, just going back to the topic, and I'm gonna ramble a bit, but I really do wonder how the supply is going to be siphoned to the market. That's the biggest question that people have at this current time period. If you're listening to the future, because it's just tough. Booster box prices for LGSs to make money at the end of the day, for people who open the product at the end of the day to make money, need to have the price point of $80 to $100 a box, and you need the singles to maintain their high value, right? You can't flood too much product into the market at one time, or else those price points seem to just damper low, because everyone's like just competing with each other. All the single sellers and all the stores and all the players and people, they try to undercut each other or race to the bottom as much as possible. But when you have this slow drip of product, you prevent that as much from happening. And it's the price memory that you cement in people's minds. And I think that's the big like buzzword for this video is price memory. Is when you see cards out there and you're like, oh, that's a $10 card. It's like, well, if you cement that price memory of a card in their minds after the first 3 weeks, people are like, oh, okay, well, it held at that price, so it must be a $10 card. Versus too much supply coming in and it goes down to $3, and then that cements in their mind. And if it goes up to $5, people are like, well, I remember when it was $3. I'm not going to buy it at $5. It was $3 before, and people don't really accept those prices. So overall, it's doing good so far. You have to admit, it's everything about Heavy Hitters is just excellence from LSS. And the big takeaway from me is just that this set came in trying to just have fun. And I think it really did that. And I think that if you look back at all the sets that led up to this, I'm really happy to see Legend Story Studios constantly innovating and trying new things, putting new corrections into the product. And I mean, another one is putting the cold foil in the token slot in the back, right? You have so many different tweaks and upgrades and just better things that they've done over the course of 12 sets, and it makes you wonder, what are we going to see in the next 4 years, right? I can't imagine them making the product even better, but I have no doubt they will. So that's what I think about Heavy Hitters. Let me know what you think. Cheers, man.